going, people? I know a lot of you guys don't listen to my lives, but sometimes I hit some pretty good topics and I just kind of go off on a little rant. And so in this video, I was talking about search warrants and hitting the wrong house. And I covered a whole bunch of stuff. So instead of doing another video on it, I'm just cut in where I talked about on the fly on one of my lives about what goes to search warrant and why I think it's absolutely crazy when somebody hits the wrong house on a warrant, because there's just no excuse for it. But because cops aren't held accountable for hitting a wrong warrant, why should they care? That's the problem. All right, so enjoy. Go to comments that I've responded to. And let's see what I've responded to in the last week. Here's one for you. In my city, the case agent has a vintage map. This was pretty interesting. So let me try to blow this up so maybe you guys can read along if y'all. Can y'all see that? How about that? Can you see that? All right. So in my city, a case agent, he has a vintage map that's about 70 or 90 years old. He has it framed. It's near the city map. For years, he would write up key agendas, and oftentimes the AARs, after action reports, I'm thinking that is, were a damn mess, but nobody could figure out what was going on. Come to find out, the map was from a long time ago, and the roads changed. And that was the names he was putting on a pre-action report. So when he was doing a search warrant or something, and he was developing something, he would use this old map. And they would go to the wrong house, and the city was paying out a lot of money because they're hitting the wrong fucking house. And I'm like, are you shitting me? So my response was, this is a failure on other people. No warrant should be conducted without a case agent or a picture of the house. When I do a warrant on something, when a cop does a warrant, let's say your house. I'm going to search your house. I got a search warrant. I got probable cause. I had a CI go buy something, or I had a CI get arrested. And he says, hey man, I bought dope at this house. And here's the day I did it. And my buddy also bought dope. You want to talk to him? I go talk to his buddy. And his buddy goes, yeah, man, I buy dope from there. And I get 3 different people that bought dope. So I write up a search warrant, say, look, I think this house is selling dope because I have 3 different confidential informants that all said they bought dope and blah, blah, blah. And they gave me this, and they described the inside of the house, and their descriptions were the same, and blah, 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 blah. I write up everything that makes me believe I think I'm going to find dope in this house. Well, then I write this warrant. Once the DA reviews it, he goes, okay, yeah, I think you got probable cause. Take it to judge, no problem. Take it to the judge. The judge goes, okay, thanks. Yeah, okay, go search and destroy, whatever. Go find your shit. So I go, okay. So now I have a search warrant signed. Now I have to set up what's called a plan of action or a search warrant plan, or get my team together. So I will send out to my team, hey man, I got a warrant. We're going to serve it in the morning. Everybody needs to be here for briefing at 5 a.m. We're going to serve the warrant at 6:30 or 7. Okay, but I want everybody here at 5. So at 5 a.m., I get all my guys in there, and I have a copy of my search warrant. And with a copy of the warrant, I have who lives at the house, who these people said they said they bought it from John Doe. Well, I got a picture of John Doe. I've ran his driver's license. I printed out his driver's license picture. I've got pictures of the front of the house. I got pictures of cars pointing to the house. I've ran the license plates on the cars on who they come back to. I may have pictures of those guys. Say, hey, man, I've been watching this house for 3 days now, and this car is always there. When I ran the car, I come up registered this guy, and I've seen him pull in and out of the house, and we've got pictures of him, and this is what it looks like. Here's his driver's license picture. So this is my warrant, what I call a warrant package, my pre-op. So all my guys are here, and everybody gets a copy of that. And then we go through the warrant page by page. I may have a whiteboard where I've drawn up a picture where I want people posted, or who the entry team is, or whatever. In the warrant, it says, hey, entry team is so-and-so, 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 so-and-so. I'm going to be number 3 on the entry team. Joe, you're the puncher. You're going to be the, ram guy. So he's got the ram. So therefore he's entering last. Whoever rams the door enters last. Who's my first and second person are usually my 2 tactical guys that I have the most confidence in, that I want in the first. And then I'm usually number 3. And then, 5 of us will enter the house. So so this is what we do at our briefing. We talk about this. And I explain it, and I show them a picture of the house, and I say, is there any questions? And then I also say, hey, man, I've gone to the neighbor because they've got a high fence, and I couldn't see him backyard. I went and knocked on a neighbor, said somebody we were chasing. I gave him some bullshit excuse that we were chasing somebody, and we think a criminal may have thrown something over the yard. Do they mind if I go in their backyard? And they go, yeah. So they let me in the backyard. And when I was in the backyard, I snapped a picture through one of the knot holes, or I held my camera up over the fence, or I looked through the fence, and here's what's in the backyard. And here's what we got, and here's where I want the entry, and there's a gate here. And so this is all part of pre-planning before we do a warrant. So all this goes on, and I say, is there any questions? Everybody goes, hey, man, on this right here, it looks like there's that lock. Are we going to punch the door because it's got a gate? So anything that I didn't cover, all my guys will ask questions now because they're going through it. They're just looking for a reason that I made a mistake or missed something. Hey, man, it doesn't say anything here about notifying the ambulance. All right, man, I left that out. All right, let's add that in. Okay, you're responsible. Make sure ambulance is notified. And normally, before we do the warrant, we'll send it with a checklist on the front that says notify ambulance, notify current jurisdiction, notify medical, notify fire in case somebody gets called on fire, etc. So all those things will be in there, and then I'll fax it to dispatch on the morning of the warrant. I don't want more people knowing about this. So the only people that know about any of this is me and maybe my partner who I'm working with, and that's it. And then the guys I'm briefing know about it the morning of the warrant. Nobody else knows about it. So dispatch doesn't know, anybody doesn't know. And then before we go do the warrant, I'm going to fax over my checklist to dispatch and say, dispatch, hey, these are the units. We're going on scene. We're serving a warrant at this house at this time. Now, also part of the warrant thing is I have to go through, and in my warrant, I say I've contacted WISN or whoever, the federal agency. There's a point that you notify that if you're doing a warrant, you have to notify these two places. And that way you don't end up saying, I don't want to hit this house. And the FBI's been watching it for 3 weeks and they're working a case. And now all of a sudden I'm going to hit it. Well, as soon as I enter this address the day before or, the night before and say Warrant Services address, and it will pop up anyone else that's doing investigations on that address. So if the feds are doing a case, they're going to call me and go, dude, you can't hit this house. I'll be like, what? Motherfucker, I got a warrant. I can hit it. Dude, man, we got that. And then we have to either start a joint investigation, or I have to tell them, fuck you, we're doing our warrant. If you wanted to come join us, you can come join it. And then they will call their chief and they'll call my chief. And unless I'm ordered not to do it, I'll fucking go do the warrant. But everybody, and then this also notifies the state, because sometimes the state will have task force or the state will have something going on and they'll call you. Go, hey, man, our investigation trumps yours, blah, blah. And I go, fuck that shit, blah, blah. We're going to call your boss. And my boss called me and go, dude, can't do it, man. The state trumps. Sorry. But I got a fucking warrant. It's signed by a judge. Man, we got to hold off. Just hold on to it for a week. We told them, we waited for a week. After a week, your information gets stale. And if you have stale information, you have to renew your warrant with fresh information. I can't say a week ago, I had 3 guys that went in this house and bought dope. And now I want to hit it a week later because I think I'll buy dope. That ain't good enough. Now, if I show a pattern of these guys that bought dope 4 times in the last 3 weeks, and obviously it's an ongoing drug house, now my information isn't so prevalent that it needs to be fresh. So it can be a little more stale is the word they use. So, but if I have something that I'm going in this house, like, hey man, this guy went in there and he said there's a woman tied up to the bed and this is fucking emergency and she's tied up and he thinks she's hurt. Well, I could technically probably just go in without a warrant, kick the door under exigency. But if I did it right, I'd want to get a warrant. That's current information. I can't get a warrant for a woman tied to a bed that I want to go in and rescue her and then serve the warrant 2 weeks later. It's going to be nullified. It'll be like, look, you got the warrant on this emergency. You waited 2 weeks. You're not acting on the information. You're just searching the house 2 weeks later. So I would have to redo the warrant in that case and say, hey, I had other cases come up. I had other warrants. I got pulled for this detail. I was assigned to this. I got sent to this training, whatever. So my information, so you have to renew your warrant. So then I would do a supplement to the warrant, say, Judge, on this day, I got this warrant, blah, blah. But I recontacted all these guys. They said they're still continuing to buy drugs. They just bought drugs yesterday, et cetera. So I still want to do this warrant, but it's been 10 days. Can you redo the warrant? And then he'll re-sign a new warrant. Now my warrant's good again. So that's if I wait too long. But anyway, so warrants are this huge deal that I'm giving you guys a crash course. Any cops here, most cops have no idea what goes on in a warrant because most cops don't do warrants. They might be a part of a warrant, but they don't write it and run a case and actually go through this. So there's a lot that goes on. So when I call this agency, all this is marked on my warrant. So in the morning, Sergeant, everybody I give a copy of my warrant when I'm doing my briefing is getting this information and they're going through. And now I have the benefit of all these cops who are on my team that do warrants with me, and they got other things that they can think of. Hey, man, Did you do this? So they're just looking for a reason to find something that I didn't cover, which normally good cops will do because they don't want to get caught with their pants down. They don't want to hit this house and go, damn, man, we had this one house and you didn't cover this. So it's not like, sometimes it's like poking at me. Yo, man, it's your fucking warrant. Why ain't there fucking donuts here? You got us here at fucking 5 o'clock in the morning and you didn't bring, because whoever the case agent is, normally he takes care of the guys. You pick up donuts. You tell one of the guys, yo, man, bring donuts so my guys aren't whining and then you got nothing to eat while I'm giving this briefing. So normally the case agent is responsible for keeping his team happy because they're going to do a warrant. So that's an issue. Now that's giving me shit because I either didn't have donuts or I bought cheap donuts. If you bring in just glazed donuts, man, you're going to get shit. You got to bring in the cream filled and the sprinkles and the chocolate cover. You just come in there with a box of dozen glazed donuts. Those motherfuckers be throwing at you while you're doing your briefing. What the fuck's up with this glazed donut shit? Your cheap ass couldn't buy fucking cream filled? So that's different. This ought to be a crazy cop story on fucking warrants. But anyway, maybe I'll cut this out and make it another video. So I'm going through this fucking warrant. So this guy right here, this guy right here, while I'm telling him, look, no warrant is conducted without the case agent picture the house or drive by on the warrant. So after I do my briefing, either I assign somebody who knows my partner or me, or I have driven by the house that freaking morning. We're doing a search warrant. I'm in an undercover car. I'm driving by and I'm looking for changes. I'm looking for new vehicles. I'm looking for new bars. I'm looking for new dogs. I'm looking for new signs that says dog. I'm looking. So in my briefing, I'm briefing that I've been to the house. I snuck my way in next door and got pictures and looked. And when I was in the backyard, I saw a dog. I saw 2 dogs. I saw this. I saw there's a swing set, so there may be kids there. When I was watching and surveilling the house, I saw if they had kids, so beware of kids. We're entering a house where there might be kids present. Normally, he takes the kids to school at 7 a.m., so we're going to serve the warrant after mom leaves with the kids. So I've got a guy sitting there right now. We're going to stage here, or if we're briefing this at the station and the warrant's like 7 miles away, then we'll do a briefing and then we'll say, okay, here's the briefing. Let's stage at this address at the corner of Fair Oaks and wherever, in Sacramento, whatever. We're staging at this place, meeting this parking lot. Everybody ready? All right, grab your donuts, let's go. So then everybody goes, grabs their shits, takes a shit, does their piss, gets their warrant, gets their decked out in their gear, and they show up. And now all these cops are sitting in this parking lot and we're waiting. And I'm like, okay, I've got a guy doing a drive-by. As soon as he sees, he's sitting on the house. As soon as he sees mom leaves with the kids, we're going to hit the house. Now, some officers are like, fuck the kids. They're doing criminals. We need the kids here. We'll take them into protective custody. And, the kids need to see this. And we want mom in the house anyway, because she's probably fucking involved. So we're not letting her leave. And again, that would dictate on how we're going to do the warrant. But these are all considerations that you need to figure out if you're doing a good warrant and you've done your due diligence on a warrant. I mean, there's some guys that freaking go get a warrant, have it signed, and grab 3 or 4 patrol guys. Hey, let me get me over here. We're going to go do this warrant on his house. And there's no pre-briefing, no nothing. Guys, everybody who does a warrant should read the warrant. They should know the probable cause. They have to know what we're looking for. If they're going to be searching, they got to know. In the warrant, it says, I believe that I will find evidence of drug dealing in this place, to include drug scales, methamphetamine, heroin, whatever the drug is, other contraband, weighing materials, pay and owe sheets where they have documentation of where they're paying people and owing people for drugs on their buying of suppliers. If I'm looking for, if I think they have a storage locker that I don't know where it's at, and I think this search warrant is going to either give me a key or a receipt to this storage locker, then that's going to be in the warrant. But everybody has to know what they're looking for in this warrant. So after I do the briefing and we meet at our staging location, and I had to explain all this so you understand what these terms I'm using. So we have our briefing. Now we meet at the staging area and we're sitting around and waiting for mom to leave. There is no way, if all this is done, that you can hit the wrong freaking house. I mean, think about it. When you see cops hitting the wrong house, how many, raise your hand if you think they just did what I just said needs to be done on a warrant. Raise your hand. You're a fucking idiot if you got your hand up. Of course they didn't do it. They did some bullshit, halfway, hanky-panky, cool, I got a warrant, we got a government signature, let's go kick the door and have fun. And that's how you get wrong houses hit. There is no way, I never hit the wrong house in a warrant. Nobody on any team that I've ever worked with, and I've worked on gang teams, drug teams, auto theft team, career criminal task forces, I've worked on a lot. No team that I've ever worked with has ever hit the wrong freaking house. Just doesn't happen. I mean, it just doesn't happen. The only way a house gets hit is when cops are lazy and they're not doing due diligence. And you know what? When some cops hit the wrong house, somebody's ass ought to be on the line. Somebody ought to be charged. You just risked somebody's life. Last thing I want to do is kick some door on some family that's doing nothing wrong with kids, go in there with guns and traumatize people, maybe shoot their dog, do all this bullshit. That's a wrong freaking house. Are you kidding me? There is no reason a wrong house should be hit during a warrant. So this guy here is blaming one guy who had a bad map, and the city's paying out a lot of money for hitting bad houses. Man, you're fucking crazy. There is no way, if you do what I just did, the right way a warrant should be done, briefed, handled, team put together, etc. There's no way you can hit the wrong house. Just impossible. I mean, first of all, it's my freaking warrant. I've been by the house. I've been next door to the house. I've driven by. I've got pictures of the house. How the hell can you hit the wrong warrant when I'm there? Now, let's say I get hurt. We have this warrant planned, and I get hurt, and a sergeant goes, hey, man, Rick did this warrant. He freaking bailed out, or he got yanked for some other thing with his agency. He can't be here. It's his warrant, but we're going to serve it. Okay? So here's the address. Let's go hit it. Maybe. Hopefully the sergeant's smart enough to go, he put a picture of the house. That fucking house don't look like this picture. Because it's pretty easy. I mean, all I do is I put a picture of the freaking house. This is the house we're hitting. It's not brain science. I mean, how the hell do you hit the wrong house? Incompetence, lack of accountability. Nobody cares if they hit the wrong house because nobody gets in trouble because I get paid whether I'm lazy. Well, that's Patrick. Motherfucker can't come in and shit. He go, yo, motherfucker, why ain't you coming in?
Hey, I was stopping in to get my haircut. What'd you do? You get a bee stuck under your saddle or something? What the hell's up with you?
What are you talking about?
You are fired up today.
Oh, no, I'm just talking about, I was going over the comment. Well, I'm talking about some fired up subjects. So obviously, you know me, I get a little freaking fired up on shit, but I'm just talking about subjects that I'm passionate about, and I'm trying to get people to understand that, you know, don't believe what the media tells you on all this bullshit. Right now I'm talking about warrants, and I just can't believe the number. I just read another article where they hit the wrong house and they threw some little old lady on the ground. And I'm like, how do you hit the wrong house on a freaking warrant? It's almost I mean, you really have to work at hitting the wrong fucking house.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you don't know how to read and you don't know what numbers are, most houses have street addresses on them, right?
Well, now there are some places that are confusing, and there's streets that are same name or opposite name, or the numbers are on because the post office is consistent. Are you telling me you never got somebody else's mail?
I don't know. I've gotten other people's mail. I never got anybody else's $100,000 checks though.
Well, and if you cashed it, it's a crime anyway.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, well, you sound a little fired up today.
Oh, do I? Well,
you've dropped the F-bomb a number of times. I've been on and off 3 or 4 times, and
I'm talking about governor and the feds. That always brings out the F-bomb. All righty, I guess we'll end that there. Hopefully you got some information on why there's no excuse whatsoever for cops hitting the wrong house on a search warrant. We'll end that there.